You're born, you take shit, you get out in the world, you take more shit, you climb a little higher, you take less shit, till eventually you're up in the rarefied atmosphere and you've forgotten what shit even looks like. Welcome to the layer cake, son. Of course, Layer Cake is not just a 2004 film in which Professor Dumbledore teaches James Bond all about how to sell cocaine. It is also this, a chocolate and marshmallow stout from Brewdog. Brewdog is a bit of a divisive name, I would argue, in the beer industry. It's one thing claiming that you're an upstart punk when you're just starting out. It sounds a bit inauthentic when you're saying it on the opening of your second hotel. I'm hoping, however, this beer is going to show us that Brewdog still has a little bit of innovation, still has a little bit of punk left in them. It's not just increasingly watered down variations on their punk IPA. They do still have some fresh and funky new ideas coming out of there as well. So let's start with the can. It's, on the one side, you've got this sort of white and pink marshmallow aesthetic, and drizzled over the top, you've got this much darker, richer chocolate brown appearance. Do I love it aesthetically? Honestly, no. But I do love it a lot more than a lot of the other Brewdog can labels that are going on at the moment, in that this gives you a really clear idea of what's going on inside. You look at this and you're like, ah, yes, chocolate and marshmallow is fantastic. I know what to expect. So in that sense, the can label, the artwork there is doing a phenomenal job. Let's see what we've got going on inside. He says, knocking over his carefully stacked marshmallows. So we're greeted here with a beer with a very clear black body and a fairly fine structured tan head. It's got a creamy looking head. And the aroma is already quite intense. It's very sweet, syrupy marshmallow sweetness. There's a touch of chocolatey flavour there, sort of like quite light milk chocolate. Cadbury's options, I've mentioned a few times before in beers like this. Sort of milky sweetness as well, that lactose coming through on the nose a little bit as well. But generally, not terribly complex on the aroma. It's a lot more complex and a lot more pleasant, frankly, on the palate. Yes, there's that marshmallow sweetness. Yes, there's that chocolatey flavour, but it's a darker chocolate flavour, oddly, than it is on the nose. It's not so much sort of cheap milk chocolate. It's got some complexity, some bitterness to it. There's some caramel, some slightly burnt, toasty flavours in there. There's a little bit of red berry, some dark cherry and raspberry flavours in that mix as well. In a way that's really, it keeps you guessing as you're going through, as you try and spot the next flavour that's going to come through. The mouthfeel is not so thick as to be sort of syrupy or chewy, but it's thick enough to be satisfying. And on the finish, you get more of that sort of sour cherry, cherry sourness, and a little bit of that caramel burnt sweetness, that sort of browned caramel sweetness coming through on the finish. This would be a fantastic beer for that person in your life with a sweet tooth. If you've got that family member, that friend who's always desperate to look at the dessert menu whenever you go out for a meal, this is probably a good beer to try them out on. It's sweet, it's syrupy, it's luxurious. It's probably not complex and chocolatey enough for somebody who's really dedicated to their chocolate in that sense, but for somebody who just likes the sweet stuff, this would be a good shout. On balance, I'm giving this beer a 3 out of 5. It's good. It's very good. I would drink more of it, but it's lacking that certain something. It's perhaps a little bit too simple, a little bit too sickly sweet without, there's some complexity there, but not enough to really justify drinking pint after pint of it. And certainly at 7%, you've got to be doing something quite special there to really justify the amount of alcohol you're consuming there. But that's about enough from me for this week. What I want to hear now is, what did you think? Did you try a layer cake? Are you a big fan of layer cake? I mean, predominantly the beer, but if you've got thoughts on the movie you want to share in the comments below, please do write them down as well. Are you a huge fan of a sweet dessert stout, and are there others you think I should try? Whatever you feel, whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, do check out the rest of the videos on my channel, or go to brewreport.co.uk for fresh beer content posted every Sunday. And until next week, happy drinking.